Folks, welcome back to Nostalgianomics. Today, we're going to talk about the psychology of investing or making plays that could make you wealthy going into 2024 and beyond. And what I'm talking about is really understanding the mentality of the general public. You can use this not only in the Pokemon markets, but other collectible markets, even the financial markets as well. It really breaks down the ideas that a lot of us investors get into our heads, where we really limit our potential. Because when we see things move up 10, 15, 20% in short amounts of time, it immediately triggers our brains to say, these are better than average gains. Something must be wrong. I need to keep my profits. I need to be cautious of this and not buy more of this. When in fact, a lot of the time, you need to do the opposite. And what I mean is, understanding the general public, when they see those things happen, that's what attracts the get-rich-quick crowd. That's what attracts the FOMO type people, the fear of missing out. That's when the Reddits and the online Discords and everything go wild, and people start throwing large amounts of money at those things, and it actually propels them much, much higher into the 50, 100%, 100% plus gains in very short amounts of time. And then what people say is, well, yeah, Alex, but then they crash. Yeah, but usually when they crash, it's not really a crash. It's usually like a 30 to 40, 50 sometimes percent downtick after 100 plus percent uptick. Meaning, even if you were to get in on some of these products or some of these plays after the fact, after they've already risen 10, 15, 20%, you're still early. So I'm going to talk about some of the products I'm talking about with this. I'm going to show you some examples of what's happened with other products in the past. I'm going to show you some examples of what's happened with stocks in the past to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And as always, you can make your own decisions on what to do for yourself. But before we jump into that, I got to talk about this crazy offer that Arizona TCG is running. So if you don't know, Arizona TCG is a PSA, CGC, Beckett slab consignment service. Now, if you're selling your slabs yourself on eBay, you are paying 13.25% plus a 30% order fee, okay? Plus, you have to do your own shipping and pay for your own shipping supplies if you're selling trading cards in the trading card category. Arizona TCG recently, they've cut their fees. They are now matching eBay's fees for a limited time at 13.25%. And then, yes, anything under $100, they're going to charge you a $5 shipping fee. But again, if you're paying your own shipping and paying for shipping supplies, it's basically the same amount. And then if it's over a $100 card, you're not paying any of that $5 fee. So you are literally paying the same amount it would cost to sell it yourself for having them take professional scans, list the item for you, deal with all the customer relations and questions, and then ship the item out for you. They're doing everything for the same exact cost of what it would cost to do it yourself. If that wasn't crazy enough, they're also running this giveaway. They're giving away a 151 Special Illustration Charizard PSA 10. All you got to do is when you submit your order, use code NOMICS. For every 10 cards you send them, you get another entry. And then for every $100 you sell, you get another entry. So depending on how many people do this, you have a very real possibility of winning this 151 Special Illustration Charizard PSA 10 slab if you want to take advantage of their service at these crazy costs. Now, this is all limited time. The giveaway is obviously a one-time thing, but it might make sense to check them out. So I'll leave a link in the description to Arizona TCG if you want to try out their service. Getting into the video, let's look at some of these sets like Battle Styles starting off, okay? Lately, we've seen an uptick on Battle Styles. It was in the low hundreds, about $100. It's a recently uptick. We saw a sale right here at 117. There's listings for 115. And so you're talking about a 15-ish% uptick in a matter of like a month, okay? Chilling Ring, we've already talked about it. It's massive. This was going for about $150 a box or less just a few weeks ago. Now it's selling in the 170s. We are talking, all right, what is that? About a 10 to 15% uptick. Okay. When you go to Evolving Skies, right? Evolving Skies not too long ago was selling for around 410, 412. It's recently upticked to 450 confirmed sales, and that's the lowest ones listed. And that tells you it's another 10% uptick there. Brilliant Stars, same thing. Just recently, right? Just like a month ago, it was in the 130s. Now it's in the 170s, 180s. We're talking like a 30% move, okay? Lost Origin after the reprint, it dropped all the way down in the 120s. Now it's going all the way back up to 140. So we're talking, 15% move there. Same with Silver Tempest. It dropped down in the low hundreds, 110 or less. Now it's going back for 130, 140s, a booster box, which is again like a 20% uptick. Now, when a lot of people see this, it scares them. They think, okay, I missed the boat. I didn't get in, or maybe I did get in and I don't want to buy more because I don't want to dollar cost average myself up. The moves have already started. I'm going to sit back and wait now. When in fact, what you don't understand is this could be the start of a massive move and could be a crazy buying opportunity. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Team Up, perfect example. Earlier last year, right, it was $980 a booster box. It saw an uptick in the middle of the year, right, to in the, low thousands. And you could have told yourself, okay, it's already 20% up. I missed my chance. I got to find something else. Oh, well. But the people that still continue to buy, they saw an uprun all the way to $2,000 a booster box, almost an 80-90% move, even after it had already moved up 20-30%. Okay. We saw it with Fates Collide back in XY, right? It was going for, this only shows over 300. It was going for under $300 a box early last year. Okay. $315. It runs up, right? In the 400, you're thinking, okay, I'm like 20-30% from my money. I'm either going to take it or I've already missed out on this place. It already ran too much. I'm going to wait for it to pull back. Here's the thing. It doesn't pull back. It kept running into the high 400s. It even happened with single cards like the Lily, right? You saw the big waifu craze. It was a $280 card. It ran all the way up to $500. Look, you could have thought this was too high. This was too high. This was too high. None of it was too high. It's seeing a downturn now, but that goes to my second point. A lot of these downturns are fractions of what the upturns are. I'm going to show you a couple more examples and we'll talk about the reason why, okay? Here's Tesla, right? So you can see its first move up. It was in the $16 range. It moved up to, $40 a share, over 40. And then it saw a big drop down to only, in the 30s a share, okay? So even during the drop, you were still up over double your money. And then the next run went from the 30s all the way up to, what is this? The 160s, right? So, 4x, 5x your money. But then it saw a drop, but only down in the, 120s. So it's a very small drop from the peak. Then it peaked again up here in the 380s, saw a drop down here to the 120s. So again, with each spike, right, we see a massive upturn, but then only a small amount of downturn. Same thing with Nvidia. You can look at Nvidia, same type of thing, right? It upticked from the $8 range up to the 60s and then dropped back to the 30s. So yeah, it's a massive downturn from the spike, but you're still far more up than when you were in the 80s. Then it went from the 30s on spiked all the way up in the 200s and 300s, but then fell back down to 100s. So again, in the low 100s, coming from the 40s, you're still far up. And so the same things to be said in Pokemon market. Now, why does this happen? Again, the general public, they're the get rich quick mindset, right? So when they see things start to move, right, that's when they want to pile in. That's when you want to be hesitant, right? Usually. But in collectible markets and, stocks that have a huge, social media, following and a lot of retail traders, investors, those are the times when you can really take advantage of those short-term spikes because people FOMO into things. And we've seen it multiple times with Pokemon in multiple different eras and multiple different time periods. And we could be moving to a time period, especially as Sword and Shield becomes 2, 3, 4 years plus old, that the same thing could happen with those. So when people are seeing these 10, 15, 20, 30% upticks, it might be just the start of a 50, 100+ % move in the near future. And you might be able to capitalize and take advantage of that. And like I said, a lot of times, even when we see those moves end, the things don't crash. They don't go to zero. They don't fall back to their old lows. A lot of times what we see is they might fall off 20, 30%, but they're still much higher than what you could still buy in for now. It'd be like a $150 box, right? Going to 250, 275, 300, but then seeing a fall off to like 225, right? Are you still mad you got in at 150 and held through the spike and into the crash? And so that's kind of what I wanted to help get your mindsets around, is to kind of stop thinking that everyone thinks about things like you do as an investor and realize that the general public, they're always trying to make a quick buck. They're always trying to get in the FOMO and the hype, get in the get rich quick mindset and jump into these things. And what's funny is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you can actually get wealthy playing in to that mindset, getting in early or before a lot of those crazies get into things. And so it's just something to think about. If you do still see opportunity in these, like I said, as always, I'll leave links to the eBay and TCG Player links for these sets. If you don't believe in it, don't take advantage of it. Look, I'm just giving you ideas. I'm not trying to hype up anything or get you to FOMO or try to, shill any sets. I'm just letting you know what has happened in the past, the mentality of the general public, so that you can possibly take advantage of it if you're here watching my channel. So good luck and Godspeed with that. Make sure to check out Arizona TCG to submit your PSA, CGC, and Beckett slabs to be sold for you at the same cost it's going to cost you to do all the work yourself on eBay. Subscribe to the channel if you're not yet. And as always, I'll be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.